Greetings YouTube, this is Toy Customizer Wake Angel 2001, bringing to you my long-awaited masterpiece. Oh yeah, we're going here, the Death Egg Robot. Now, I hinted that I was creating this guy a while ago, and I only got about 50,000 PMs asking me, what base am I going to use? What base toy are you going to use, Wake Angel? Are you going to use this robot? Are you going to use that thing? What are you going to use? What are you going to use? Well, let me show you the very special toy, which I just saw sitting on a shelf and realized, yes, that will be my Death Egg Robot. Behold! The Giant's Gumball Machine Ball! Yes, they sell these things for $1 at Party City. They have a diameter of about 5 inches and come in two halves that are held together with a screw fitting. So yes, when I saw this big plastic ball sitting on a shelf at Party City, I realized, yes, this is the perfect base. Of course, you can't have a giant robot without arms and legs and stuff, so I would use bionicle pieces to construct them. As you can see, the hips are held inside of the ball with a big screw, and the legs come through on the bottom like that. As you can see, if you look at the left leg, it's been shaved down. That's so it can fit inside the lower leg from the MARS robot that you saw me review a couple of weeks ago. Yes, the MARS robot, it perished so that I may use its legs to have a stable foundation for the Death Egg Robot. Ah, it's the wrong trousers, Gromit! Yes, some of you are laughing your asses off now. Yes, this is just to show the detailing. The bubbles on the thighs are made out of Super Sculpey. Okay, older fans, do you recognize this? It's one of the G1 Bionicle tubes. This is the one that Onua came in, one of the original Bionicles. This would become the internal structure for the cockpit. So what I did was I took the red half of the ball and cut a hole in the top, which was the exact same size as the tube. As you can see, the tube fits through quite neatly with the little dome half sticking out the top. I then modified the tube, shortening it and making room so it can slide around the hips so that it would fit neatly inside the ball and come out just the right amount. The round dome on top is from a Burger King Pokeball. The Pokeball, which was recalled from the market after a 3-year-old girl suffocated herself with one somehow. Kind of a morbid thing, but I have a duffel bag full of like 30 of them. Okay, so let's make us a head. First, you take the dome from the Bionicle tube and paint the teeth on it. Then, you take the half of the Pokeball and glue it on top, and then you paint it to look like the Egg Mecha's face. It's gray on the back and skin colored on the front. Then, you add details. Mustache made out of craft foam. Ears made out of corks and toothpicks. Glasses made out of circular pieces of foam board. And a nose, which is made out of the cut-off spine from a 3-inch metal Sonic figure. Then when the head's done, you gotta make the shoulders. These are Hero Factory forearms, which I stuck to the dome, and to make sure they wouldn't wiggle or fall out, I put a couple of blocks of wood on the inside as an anchoring point, and the blocks of wood are held in place by screws. Then I used poster board and foam board to flesh out some of the details, like the vents on the front and the backpack on the back that'll hold the rockets. After being painted up, it looks rather like a sad robot face with a big nose. Of course, with the head reattached and everything in context, it's starting to look like a giant Robotnik. So yeah, we're going along. Now all he needs is arms. So here are the forearms. They are made out of foam board with wooden dowels sharpened in a pencil sharpener and glued on to be the 3 big pointy fingers. And then they are attached with the same kinds of bionicle parts as they used to make the leg, which are also fleshed out with Super Sculpey to make the arms when we are getting very close to completion. All we need now are the shoulder pads. The shoulder pads are a delightfully simple construction. All you do is take a gumball machine bubble like you see on the left, and then you cut the straight part of it off so that you just have a dome. Then you just cut a little circle into that dome so it'll fit over the fleshed out part of the upper arms, and paint it. And you got a shoulder pad, and it looks like this. And now it's time for multiple angles. Yeah, check it out. This is the Death Egg robot. He is huge, he is awesome, and he accepts a rider inside of him. Plus he is very articulated. Of course, still pictures don't do it justice, so let's cut to live video. Alright, so here is the Death Egg robot, and he is bloody the F huge. How huge is he, you ask? Okay, maybe not all of you have a Collecting Connect still figure, so here's a figure that some people, that probably a few more of you have, they'll be more familiar with. Yes, and their feet are all lined up, so I'm not putting anybody behind anyone else here. This is their actual heights. I measured this guy at 11.5 inches tall, putting him over an inch taller than the 10-inch Metal Sonic, and the Collecting Connect figures are also on the 10-inch scale. And that, my friends, officially makes this the biggest custom that I have ever worked on. It's even bigger than the Pikmin rocket. I think it's bigger than the Pikmin rocket. And I think the Pikmin rocket was like 10 inches tall. Yeah, the Pikmin rocket was kind of big, but this is bigger. And even if the Pikmin rocket is a little bit taller, this guy simply outbulks it because it's much wider and much heavier. So let's fondle some plastic here. He has a really wide range in his shoulders, and the ball joints from the Hero Factory and Bionicle kits I used are loose enough that I can put him in that I can move him around without worrying about breaking foam board, because that's what these arms are made out of, foam board, but tight enough that he can hold just about any pose I want him to. Yeah, disco! The legs are also very movable. Although I concentrate on the arms and legs, he does have something of a pseudo waist joint. You know, because this is a screw fitting, but you know, you can only really move it so far before it'll unscrew itself and come in half. Come on, Mecha, stand up. Yeah, so I like these MARS robot feet, because they are nice and broad and flat and do an excellent job of supporting him. And it's a good thing because the figure is pretty top heavy. Now, you may be wondering, well, of course he's top heavy. Look, and then actually he's not, because this ball is in principle hollow, and all these things are made out of very lightweight materials. No, there's one specific reason why he is top heavy, and you reveal that just by giving this head a little twist to the side and then wiggling it out. Let me make sure that you're getting a good view of that. That's right, pilot. The cockpit totally fits the classic Dr. Robotnik, and the modern Eggman figure would also fit in there if I were so inclined. He's a pretty much unmodified Dr. Robotnik figure. Just nothing special. It's just a hole with a floor made of foam board in there. You just plunk him on in. I would have liked to make the head on a hinge so that, like in the video game, the head would fold back, he'd jump in and it would fold back down again. But I find that the screw fitting is very stable, and serendipitous that the Bionicle tube made such a perfect thing. Oh, by the way, that is Metal Sonic's top spine. You may remember that spine. That's the one that I cut off when I made Mecha Sally. And, you know, the mustache is made of foam board, blah, blah, blah. I'm showing off the toy here. I'm not explaining how I built it. So, the Death Egg robot is quite possibly my greatest creation. He is certainly my largest creation. And he can take on the iconic pose from the video game, which is looking at him in profile with his elbow folded. That is an iconic pose, indeed, indeed. Also, if you look on the back, see the little jetpack he has is installed. And come on, straighten your leg out. There you go. Now you're standing good. These are corks. Yes. It's amazing the stuff that you can do with poster board. Again, this is largely hollow. It's made out of very lightweight material, so the figure is not back heavy. It's actually incredibly well balanced. I really like that ultimate balancing I pulled off. And I love this guy. This is probably the coolest action figure ever. If they made a real one, I really don't think that it would be a different size. I think that this is how big the Death Egg robot is. If you were to stand a Sonic next to it, then it would be about up to his knee. Why am I pointing at it? I can just get my Sonic figure. So, classic Sonic. Perfectly aligned with the foot. As you can see, he comes up to his knee. I think that's more or less right. I mean, not the generation scale. In the generation scale, Sonic barely came up to the thing's ankle, but I think that was comically oversized. If you go by Sonic 2 or Sonic 4, where the Death Egg robot made his appearance, actually this is specifically based off the Sonic 2 look. Sorry about that. I don't control the phones. I just wish that they'd all die. Okay, what else do I have to say about the Death Egg robot other than he is my most splendiferously awesome creation in the history of ever? And he is based off of the Sonic 2 appearance of the mecha. Also, his appearance from the comic book, issue 229 of the Generation story arc. But that mecha was based off of the video game appearance anyway. Someone who's only seen him in Sonic 4 may be wondering why his shoulder pads don't have the white symbol on them, but he had those like pseudo general stripes in the video game, so that's what he has here. The first video game, that is. Well, second, but first video game that it appeared in. So yes, the Death Egg robot, my biggest and most awesome action figure custom ever. Let's see if I can make him take a bow. No, not quite. Maybe if the Robotnik figure wasn't in there throwing the balance off, he could bow. So, this has been Toy Customizer Wake Angel 2001. I hope you have enjoyed my most magnificent creation, and I wish you all a very nice day.